know the sun's sitting fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night. Now I sit on the porch, watch lightning bugs fly. I can't see too good, I got tears in my eyes. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't want to go. I love you, my town, you'll always live in my soul. And you know the sun's sitting fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night.
Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Calder Healthcare Center Volunteer Appreciation Social, Municipal Awareness Week, and National Nursing Week. These stories, plus the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this. On Monday of this week, the staff at the Calder Healthcare Center put together a wonderful spread for their volunteers. Members of the Lioness, ACW, UCW, Altar Guild, Lions, LOBA, and the LOL, and the church choirs were greeted warmly at the door and given a ticket for a door prize. Bev Tetford welcomed everyone and invited Rob Kenny to bring greetings to the guests. Lori Porter also welcomed everyone and thanked them for their generous gift of time to the residents at the Calder Healthcare Center. She also read a poem for the volunteers.
I across a little poem about volunteers that I'd like to share with you. It's called The Gardens of Kindness. Volunteers plant seeds of kindness, creating gardens of joy and light. The flowers and fruits that bud and grow provide for many and shine so bright. The gardens never fade or wither, for their goodness endures in countless ways. In the lives they touch, the hope they share, the smiles they spread and spirits they raise. Thanks, volunteers, for your generous gifts, planting seeds with your special flair. The world is a kinder, brighter place because of your commitment and care. Thanks.
Bev Tetford also added her thanks to the kitchen staff for preparing such wonderful food and to Jeanette Ann for all she does. Ms. Tetford invited Reverend Idle to give blessing over the food. Next there was a ticket draw. The winners were Claudine Ann, June Anderson, Una Han, and Max Billard. The guests were then invited to help themselves to the food that had been prepared in their honor. Monday, May the 9th, was Municipal Awareness Week. To help promote municipal awareness, the Burgeo Town Council held their regular council meeting at the Fire Hall and invited the public to attend. The 5 councillors, 2 staff members, and mayor gathered at the Fire Hall at approximately 8 p.m. There were only half a dozen people on hand for the meeting. Mayor Ann welcomed everyone and thanked them for coming out. The meeting lasted for about 2 hours and covered many areas of business for the town. The meeting opened in the usual manner with the adoption of minutes from the last meeting. Some of the topics discussed included the water treatment plant, maintenance of the Burgeo Road, intentions for the old school, marine conservation area, update on the Zamboni, mini playground at the ball field, requests for extensions, sheds, and repairs to dwelling. Under the correspondence, there were municipal awareness contests for students, upcoming municipal leadership conference at Gander, upcoming mayor's march for heart and stroke. Under new business was incinerator repairs, building permits, road repairs around town, and much, much more. For those who were at the meeting, they were amazed at the topics that the council covered. It was very interesting and informative. The meeting concluded at approximately 10 p.m. The observers were invited to stay after the meeting for coffee and donuts. This week was also National Nursing Week. This year's theme was Nursing, Patients First, Safety Always. In his news release dated Monday, May the 9th, Acting Minister of Health and Community Services, Loyola Sullivan, stated that National Nursing Week recognizes a dedicated group of caregivers, our nurses, who continue to make a difference for patients every day. The minister went on to say that their theme appropriately reflects selfless professional commitment all nurses share in the delivery of safe care every day. Most of us think of nurses as frontline care providers delivering urgent and emergency care in hospitals, but they play key roles in many other areas of the health care delivery. For example, public health nurses immunize our children. They educate communities about healthy lifestyle choices and seek to improve our wellness in partnership with other health care professionals. In rural communities, nurses are often a main point of contact for daily health issues. Minister Sullivan also stated that our province is proud to have over 8,000 registered nurses, representing one of the largest groups of health care providers in the province. Close to 100% of nurses who work in this province were also educated here, and we are fortunate to be among the lowest in average age of nurses in the country. We also have the highest rate of full-time employment of nurses in the country. Mr. Sullivan went on to say that nursing profession is a cornerstone of our health care system. Nurses are well placed to advise government on changes needed in our health system to put patients first and build upon the safe, quality care currently delivered. Who else is as close to the front line and close to the patient's needs as a nurse? At our local level, the nurses didn't make any plans to celebrate National Nursing Week. As the minister stated, nurses are involved with more than frontline health care. They are also a large part of the administration of the Calder Health Care Center. We would like to join with Minister Sullivan when he pays tribute to the nursing professionals and thanks them for their contribution to our health, our families, and communities. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this. On Tuesday of this week, the Ingram's Foodland gas bar was dismantled. As we were filming the remaining gas being pumped out of the underground tanks, a resident out for their daily walk said to us, "Another piece of Burgeo being taken away." That sums it up pretty good. Another resident answered, "And what did we do to stop it?" This is a sad situation. Now that the gas bar is closed, 3 of our residents are now out of work. This is very unfortunate. Mr. Gordon Ingram, owner-operator of Foodland Store, declined to do an interview. He was also very reluctant to speak to us. He told us that 10 years ago he made a commitment to this town when he took over the food center, and now he feels a little let down in light of the fact that the gas pump is shutting down. However, Mr. Ingram wanted to make it clear that it wasn't shutting down because it wasn't making money. The gas bar is closing down because the 3 tanks underground that holds all the gas has to come up. The environment has some major concerns about the tanks. Irving Oil wasn't going to replace the tanks, and Mr. Ingram didn't want to take on the responsibility. There was a company, North Atlantic, that would have considered taking over operation if they could have sold another 150,000 liters of gas per year. Irving Oil is responsible for dismantling of the gas pumps, and they will put everything back as it was, including the pavement. Now that the gas bar is closed, residents will have to find another place to return their beer bottles. Just one more repercussion when a business closes. On Wednesday of this week, the Tim Hortons bus was in Burgeo. No, this bus wasn't filled with Tim's coffee and donuts, but a group of 25 grade 1 students from Cornerbrook. Linda Vatcher's grade 1 class from C.C. Lockyer, to be exact. Each year at C.C. Lockyer, the school makes an application to have use of a Tim Hortons bus for their school. This year, the school decided to give the bus to Linda's class since this was her last year. She will be retiring in June. Linda taught for 21 years in Burgeo and 9 years at C.C. Lockyer in Cornerbrook. On Wednesday, when she came to school, the students and parents had the bus decorated with balloons. She decided to give her class a field trip to Burgeo. Some of these children have never been on a bus, and most have never been in a small community like ours. While they were here, they visited the museum, the town hall, and the playground. The grade 1 and 2 class at Burgeo Academy had lunch at the school with their guests. After lunch, they went to see Leonard's Lobsters. This little girl wanted to take one home with her. I asked her if she wanted it for a pet. No, she replied, I want it for my dad so he can eat it. Then it was on to the park. At the beach, the children squealed with delight at the water's edge. Then they took a walk down the beach. They were scheduled to return to Cornerbrook about 2:30 p.m. We hope the students and teachers from C.C. Lockyer enjoyed their Burgeo visit. We extend best wishes to Linda on her retirement. At approximately 8:55 p.m. on Wednesday evening, the Burgeo Fire Department answered a fire call. The fire was at the local garbage dump, and this was the culprit. The incinerator is in need of major repairs. There is supposed to be a grate over the top, however, that has been long gone. The fire department feel that as long as this is the case, they will continue getting fire calls about fires at the dump. This was quite a large fire. Flames could be seen from a long way off. When we arrived, the fire department had the fire under control. As you can see from the dark areas, a lot of ground was burnt. While we were there, the fire flared up in a few places, but again, the firefighters were quick to douse it with water. As for the incinerator, that will be repaired. This was a decision made by council during the council meeting on Monday, May the 9th. Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council, we held our regular meeting on Monday, May the 9th. Ordinarily it would have been on Wednesday, but as you know, we changed it to May the 9th to take in the Municipal Awareness festivities which occurred all over the island of Newfoundland on Monday, the May the 9th. We held our meeting at the Fire Hall in anticipation that some people would come out, and there were a few. I guess we had probably half a dozen, and we're very thankful for those people who did come out and attended the meeting. And after the meeting, we had coffee and a few donuts and so on, and did a little bit of chatting. So it was, I guess we could consider it successful. However, it would have been much, much better if we had had more people take an interest and come out and attend the meeting. But having said that, again, I say thank you to those who did, and maybe another time. We started off, of course, with the town clerk, town manager's report. And first item, as usual, was the water treatment plant. And, you know, there is sort of a media block out on what do occur there. So we had to have a meeting with regard to that matter before the regular meeting. However, the short and the long of it remains that phase 2 is just about completed, and we're very optimistic that work will begin within the next couple of weeks at least. Of course, for those of you who don't know, phase 2 is a complete cleanup, renewal of everything other than the ozone plant that was damaged in the fire. So when phase 1 is completed, the building should look as if there's never been a fire. Everything should be spotless. Any faulty wiring and so on should be replaced. And hopefully before phase 1 is completed, that there's been some agreement on phase 2, which will be the ozone plant. The town manager also informed us that he wrote a letter to the Honourable Tom Rideout, Minister of Transportation and Works, regarding the lack of maintenance on the Burgeo Road. He pointed out such items as guardrails and posts being down, guard railing being down, and so on, the shoulders needing repairs. So he sent that along to the minister. And I don't know if it had any effect or not, but I did take notice that on Thursday I had the occasion to go in over the road, and there was a work crew from St. George's at that time that was putting patch in quite a few of the potholes. So we haven't had a response to the letter. However, there is a little bit of repair work taking place on the Burgeo Road. Another item, the town manager contacted the Western School District regarding the disposal and the cleanup of the school, and he was informed that things have been moving a little bit. There have been an exchange of paperwork between the church and the school board, and as soon as apparently there's something there about the land, the church wants the land back or something, or maybe sell the land. I just don't know what's involved there between the church and the school. But in any event, once that's cleared up, that appears as if the building will be put up for sale. So once that's taken care of, we'll know. I guess they'll try to sell it, and if there's no takers there, I would assume that the building will be destroyed. With regards to the National Marine Conservation Area, there's been no decision. I was in personal contact with Mr. Bill Matthews previous week, on Friday of the previous week, and he tells me that he had conversation with the minister, Stefan Dion, and you know, there's just nothing taking place there. Councillor Grant also informed us that with regards to that business retention and expansion initiative that I've been talking about in the past, that 7 businesses are being surveyed. 2 of the businesses declined to be surveyed, and that's anyone's right. However, the ones that have been done felt it was a worthwhile project, and there's no limit on it. If someone would like to be done and there's time left, it's a so many week program, and if there's any time left over and someone within the town would like to have the survey done, I think if they contact Councillor Grant that he could set you straight on that. But according to Councillor Grant, that the businesses that have been done found it very enlightening and worthwhile. I mentioned in the previous meeting about the telethon which was held for the Zamboni. We were advised that the Zamboni cost $15,000, $11,000 was raised, and the Rec Commission is going on to try and make up the difference. Council evaluated its position with regards to would it be making donation to it, and you know, we had already committed $5,000 from our recreation budget for the Recreation Commission. We also, from that $10,000 budget item, we've passed over $1,500 to the softball team to create a mini ball field or a mini playground in the area of the ball field. And we felt that at this time we've done very good in that regard or in that area. So therefore we're sort of looking at the remainder of our funds to be used at the municipal playground. If you look at it, you can see that the tennis court, the painting has gone off that, and there is a considerable amount of gravel still needed and the fencing repairs to bring that playground up to what it should be. We gave approval for 6 sheds to be built and an extension to a piece of property here in Burgeo. Councillor Grant and Councillor Warren attended the forum in Stephenville. It was mainly concerning the Stephenville hospital and the services which is supposed to be taken out there. There wasn't much in the A report regarding the Calder Healthcare Center other than what I saw there. It was good. So Burgeo didn't really have a big lot to complain about. However, Councillor Grant did highlight to the people there that evening the lack of representation on the board, that Burgeo doesn't have a representative there, so it was a chance for once more to drive that home. As you know, every year we have the Mayor's March for heart and stroke disease. Our council will be taking part in this again, and we will do this march on June the 15th prior to our meeting on that evening. So anybody who would like to make a donation, you can drop it off at the town hall or with any of the councillors. And you'll see us out doing the Mayor's March again on June the 15th. As you know, Deputy Mayor Reid and myself, we attended the Senate committee meeting. I gave a report on it, so there's not much more to say there, other than we have now prepared an interim report in writing, which we have submitted to the Senate committee. So it's more or less just to not let it go up and have the meeting and then let it die out. We've forwarded an interim report, and that way we feel, you know, that we'll still be, someone will still know that we're here, and you know, I fully support this kind of operation. I don't know how you people feel about it out there, but as I watch the House of Assembly and listen to, and I'll say it quite frankly, Mr. Oliver Langdon, the man is certainly doing an excellent job for his district in the representation that he's giving to the town of Harbour Breton. You know, the man is on his feet. He's pushing Harbour Breton right, left, and center. And such a good opportunity now with this crab dispute and so on. And he's certainly not missing the occasion. And I've got to say that it wouldn't hurt if Burgeo was pushed a little more. I know some of you have seen from the television, because the town manager has an announcement on there regarding Ocean Knit. And this is the cleanup of the beaches around some of our areas. And you know, I'd just like to point out to you that this Ocean Knit is trying to get 1,000 towns. They're trying to do 1,000 cleanups. And since 1997, they have, I guess it's cleaned up about 640. And there's winners in this, and Ramya was the winner in 2002, Nain, Labrador, 2003, and Buren in 2004. So, you know, the manager has some of this on the BBS, if someone would like more information on it. God only knows that the coves and beaches and so on here in Burgeo is certainly nothing to be proud of, especially from a town that has garbage collection at every house twice a week. I think we've probably got the worst beaches of any place in Newfoundland. That's my own personal opinion. And you know, the comment was made to me one time with regards to GPS. And they said if you were going to Burgeo, you didn't need a GPS, because when you got within 4 or 5 miles of it, you knew you was getting close to Burgeo, because you could see the plastic bags and the pop bottles and the pop cans and everything else, you know. So you know, we certainly don't have much to be proud of there. And it was just a short while ago, if you can recall, that during the moratorium that a group of people went around and cleaned up the coves and did a remarkable job. But I can assure you that if anybody who goes around the water can look and see that it's certainly as bad or worse than it was before these people did it. However, there's a lot of information on this. We'd love to have the community in there. So anyone who feels inclined could drop by the town office, or you can visit the website. And there is a website for this. It's www.oceannet.ca. So if there's some good soul out there would like, and no doubt if you were the winner there, you know, you'll be entered in a draw and you would win $1,000. So there's something to it. It's an environmental cleanup and it's a challenge. So if there's interest out there, maybe there's a group, a school group or something along that line, I don't know. But it can be tackled, and even on an individual basis. Also, every year there's a youth program. It's called the Youth Venture Program, whereby you can get youth getting into some kind of a business venture, such as a hot dog stand or one thing or the other. And it was agreed that our council would waiver the cost of any permits for any youth that would be taking part in the Youth Ventures Program. The town has entered into a contract with K&C Pest Control, and what that is we've entered into a contract whereby they'll come and do our garbage dump and our sewer outfalls to sort of protect us against the rats, and they'll do that once a month, so that's 12 times a year. They gave us a good deal, and we think that this is a worthwhile thing. I mentioned some time ago about the deplorable condition that our incinerator was in. Well, we've shopped around and seen if we could get any funding. And failure to come up with any funding for this matter, we've decided that we would use our own funds. We're estimating right now it's going to cost us close to $10,000. But we're in a position where we got no choice. You know, something has got to be done. The town of Burgeo is responsible for disposal of garbage, and the incinerator is getting to the stage where, you know, that we could have to stop using it. And if you stop using it, where does that leave us? So it's a cost we didn't want, because there's also a deadline on when the TP incinerators are supposed to be done away with. I've got no doubt they're going to have to extend that deadline. But in the meantime, we will be taking on the job of trying to repair the incinerator. Something which has come up to council before in previous years and felt it was time to look at again, and that is dilapidated buildings. Now there's quite a few buildings within the town that are really getting to be eyesores. And as council, it is a responsibility of ours to look into it. And to not do something about it is would be remiss on our part. So therefore, you know, some buildings have been identified. They were identified some time ago. Council don't want to come on with a strong arm approach. There's approach, you know, which is a legal approach and which will probably have to be taken. However, we're going to start off and try to work this thing through in a friendly manner. And to start off with is that properties that have been identified, owners will be receiving letters in the very near future requesting that they try to do up their property. See, it's very unfair to the person who's going out there and fixing up their property and making everything look just beautiful, and then you got those pockets of dilapidation. So, you know, the properties that have been identified, the owners will be receiving a letter in the mail, and that'll be the first step. Hopefully that will be the only step that will be required, but the impression that I got from councillors at our meeting, and there was a motion to that effect, that if we got to go further with regards to dilapidated buildings, then that's exactly where we will go. So, you know, that's the way it is. We were advised as well that, you know, we know that there's some areas of town now where the road pavement is really bad. I mean, you don't need for me to bring it out. It's where we had a water line break, and then there's where the connection for the Coast Guard was put in, and so on and so forth. And there's been a lot of areas identified, and the wheels are in motion so that this will be taken care of when the paving company comes in here to do the paving at the Coast Guard facility. Deputy Mayor Reid, he's always been a strong contender that he feels that there is a legal case for the way that the quota was taken from Burgeo and carried to Canso, and an individual got it and so on, and he was given, it was a consensus by council that Deputy Mayor Reid can take that further if he wish and feel it out and see if there is a legal avenue that we can go in to try get that quota back for Burgeo. You know, there mightn't be much in it right now, but if the fish came back, of course it will go back to what it was before the moratorium. But if someone else has got the hands on it, then that's who would keep it. So Deputy Mayor Reid was given permission by council to do a bit of work around and sounding out to see if there is a legal path and that we can take to try maybe sue, I don't know who, perhaps the federal government, who approved the transfer of that quota, and see if we can't get it back for Burgeo. With regards to the playground, the town manager was asked to look at the playground and see what work is needed there, and we know there's work needed on the playground, you know, and so you will be seeing improvements in that. Now, that was just about it for our meeting, except for the payment of invoices. And the invoices in the amount of $23,862.02 was approved for payment. And the only other thing I've been asked to remind you this evening about is that we've got cleanup weeks rather. It begins on May the 16th to the 28th. There'll be extra garbage pickups and so on, and old stuff which you've had lying around. Council will see that it's taken to the garbage dump. There's one more reminder, and that is that winter is definitely over. Believe it or not, winter is over, and we would certainly appreciate it if you would now go and turn off that tap or put the ball back on the toilet, whatever you've been doing to run your water all winter. We've seen quite a drop. Employees advise that we peaked at 600 gallons per minute during the winter. We're now down to 190. So after tonight, I think, when everybody goes down and shuts it off, I mean, we've had reports, to be quite frank with you, people who's gone from Burgeo now, and they're gone for the rest of the summer. And they've gone and left their water running. So, you know, it really would be appreciated if you would shut off your water, because in those instances which I just mentioned, once it can be confirmed, it is quite possible that the town will go and shut off the curb stop rather than let it running for the rest of the summer. And you know, by turning that off, one of the employees was telling me you just couldn't believe the difference in the amount of lime and soda ash that we also go through, because those two things, lime and soda ash, is completely controlled by the put-through of water. So, you know, there's a good case to be made for for turning off your water that you've been running all winter. Another thing we'd like to now, as you know, we've got this beautification thing for Burgeo. We started it last year. Council don't want to be involved in the judges. We don't want to be the judges. We're going to try to seek out some judges. And of course, the problem you get into is sometimes the person who would be a good judge is also a contestant. So therefore, you know, can't have that, because you certainly get into a conflict of interest. But if there is someone out there who sort of says, I wouldn't mind doing that, I can assure you that the town council would certainly appreciate a phone call. So if you would like to get involved in this beautification thing with council, just give the town office a call and leave your name with the town manager, and he'll certainly see into it. And I can tell you it would be very, very much appreciated. The town manager also informs me, the town clerk, that taxes are due and payable. The deadline is Monday, the 16th. That is the deadline. And after that, there's going to be starting to be water services discontinued to the properties. So consider it your responsibility now to get your taxes paid by Monday, the 16th of May, or go to the town clerk and see that you have a good, acceptable payment agreement put in place. And either one will keep your water running. But if you don't have the taxes paid and you've not set up an acceptable payment agreement with the town, then after the 16th, you could find yourself without any water through your taps. So I would encourage you to go to the town office and get and attend to this matter. And that's it for me for this evening, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Stay with us for Off the Rack and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
I have Huntington disease. This is my future, just 15 years from now. I will be robbed of any control of my mind and body. I will become dependent, like a child. And my son has a 50% risk of getting Huntington's from me. If he does, someday it will slowly kill him too. We must find a cure for Huntington's. Won't you help?
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of cabin owners having Aaron's Arm Canal dug out. Let's look back to May the 16th, 1996.
For cabin owners in the Grandy's Brook and Injun Knoll area, tides play a big factor in when one can travel to and from their cabins. Recently, campers in these areas took up a collection to have some work done on the canal leading from Aaron's Arm to the brook area. South Coast Construction was hired to dig out the canal that joins Aaron's Arm with Grandy's River and Engine Hole. This tractor was floated to the canal by barge and used during low tide to dig the canal deeper, allowing for easier access to and from Grandy's River. Despite a few minor setbacks like the track coming off the tractor, the work was completed in less than a week. The tides still play a factor in traveling to and from the brook, but access is much easier than before.
BBS Playbill. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Understanding the Early Years TV Bingo. On Thursday, we'll have a rebroadcast of entertainment from the Sand and Sea Festival with music by Mood Swingers. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Please stay tuned now for entertainment from the Sand and Sea Festival with Mood Swingers. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.